You want to know how life flips upside down in a blink? Let me paint you a picture. 1 minute, you're rolling down Route 285 in a car that costs more than most people's homes. The next, you're standing on hot asphalt, sunglasses sliding down your nose, heart thumping like you just lost your last dollar at the tables in Vegas, staring at a shredded tire like it's some cosmic joke. "You okay, ma'am? Step back a little." That's what he said, Officer Marcus Walker. Voice steady, but not sharp, calm, but not soft, already clocking everything before he even hit the brakes behind my silver Porsche. My name's Maya William. Never thought I'd be the damsel on the side of the highway, but there I was, scarf tight, breath shaky, wondering how fast dignity leaks out of you when your world goes flat, literally and otherwise. He knelt by the tire, didn't bother with small talk, just the focused, practiced movements of someone who's fixed more than rubber, someone who fixes days. "You do this often?" I asked, try to mask nerves with sarcasm. "Tires, sometimes. Days, that's hit or miss." He almost smiled. There was something in his eyes, not flirtation, not ego, just that rare presence that lets you exhale, even if only for a second. Before I knew it, he'd swapped the spare, hands smudged with dust and competence. "Don't take this tire too far. Santa Fe's your best bet." I reached for my wallet, wave it off. "No need, Miss William." Recognition flickered there, but he didn't say a word about it. "You sure you don't want anything? At least a coffee?" I tried, mostly to have an excuse for company. "Already had mine, but thanks." And like that, he was gone, kicking up dust and questions I hadn't asked myself in years. That night, I stared at the cracked ceiling of a roadside inn, phone buzzing with texts I didn't want to answer. Me lawyer, my old board, people who once called me the future. What stuck with me wasn't the panic, but the way that cop looked at me like I was a person, not a headline. 2 days later, against my own logic, I found myself in a rundown cafe, old ceiling fan humming. The waitress giving me that look that said she knew everything and nothing at all. Marcus sat at the counter, stirring sugar into chipped porcelain. Our eyes met. "He smelled a real one, not a practice one." "Fancy seeing you again," he said. "Looks like the universe's GPS is better than mine." I shot back, sliding onto the stool next to him. We didn't say much at first, but sometimes silence can fill in all the cracks word would just make worse. He asked what brought me back. I guess I needed to see if what happened on that road was real. I said, tracing my napkin. 8 years in boardrooms with people who'd shake your hand while plotting your replacement, then you. No contracts, no pitch, just a wrench and decency. He shrugged, like kindness was no big deal. "Thank you for seeing Minute the CEO, not the car, just me." He cocked an eyebrow. "What is it? A CEO tracking me down just to say thanks? Not a CEO anymore. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" "Ask me in a month." I laughed. "Or maybe 5 years. We talked about plans, about being needed for the right reasons." I asked if he liked being a cop. He hesitated. "Most days. Some days you remember why, when someone breaks down or a kid goes missing. Not the badge of showing up." I told him I'd been raised to think power was the loudest voice. Lately, I wondered if it's about being the quietest one who stays. "Do you ever take a day off?" I asked. "Rarely, but I make space when it matters." "Would lunch count?" He grinned. "Depends who's asking. Someone who's not sure where she's going, but doesn't want to drive away just yet." He thought about it, then nodded. "There's a spot near the ridge, real food, fewer judgmental booths." As we left, I muttered, "About time that boy found something good." Sunlight softened, the world slowed, and for the first time in weeks, I wasn't running from something. I was following something semi-ethereal. At Ridge View Cafe, paint peeling, burgers and shakes, Marcus pointed out he'd been coming here since his first paycheck. "Comfort food, something like that," he said. I told him about my thrifted Prada blazer, my desperate pitches, how I built Solaris clean tech solar panels, clean energy for communities no one cared about until I got voted out for being too emotionally involved. My father built that company with me. Losing it felt like losing him again. Marcus told me about his dad, how he taught him nothing broken stays broken unless you give up on it. "You still believe that?" I asked. He nodded. "I try." Lunch turned easy. Stories flowed. He didn't Google me. Figured if I needed to know, you'd tell me. I admired that. We talked about second chances, about fixing things people, really. What did you think when you saw me stranded? I pressed. Nice car for this road, someone who isn't used to needing help, and that you let me help. That told me everything. He made it hard to keep my guard up. Good, he said softly. You shouldn't have to. Afterward, standing by our cars, he gave me his Cardinal logo, just a number. If your tire acts up, or if you need coffee. Weeks later, I invited him to a gala in Santa Fe, a charity event where I once ruled the room. Now, I was just the fallen CEO with a cop on her arm. Inside, people looked right through Marcus. Yes, the tire incident, some donor snarked. Marcus shook his hand, steel in his grip. I prefer reality to stories. That night, we stood outside on the terrace. Why'd you come? I asked. For the woman who handed me coffee, not for the crowd. I wish you'd kiss me at the cafe, I admitted. He leaned in slow, gave me time to step away. I didn't. The kiss was quiet, warm, not dramatic, but honest, the kind that lingers after the lights go out. Next morning, the headlines hit: fallen CEO, state cop gala kiss. My aunt shrugged, brought tea. You invited someone real into that fake world good. I wanted to fight back, but every statement felt like surrender. Instead, I drove to Ridgeview. I'm sorry, I told Marcus. I never meant for this to fall on you. He shrugged. You didn't drag me. I walked in. I told him about my plan, a community workshop, a place where kids could build skills, where no one gets voted out. Why me? I asked him. Because you fix things without asking if they're worth fixing. We opened the William and Walker Institute, a battered old warehouse on the edge of town, sawdust and dreams. We hung a banner. Real work happens here. It wasn't a PR stunt. It was a lifeline for me, for Marcus, for a kid named Elijah who learned to square a cut for the first time, for a retired welder who missed teaching. The press called it a vanity project. Anonymous letters, zoning complaints, editorials about my mental stability. Marcus sat beside me on the tailgate one night, dust on his boots, arms crossed, voice gentle. It's not redemption if you never sinned. When the city threatened to shut us down, we called everyone together. This isn't a building gets a belief, I told them. Marcus added, we've built more in 60 days than some have built in decades because we show up. One Saturday, 15 people showed up, then 34, then the news. Someone donated $20, another $100, a widow from Texas wrote, wish this place existed when my husband got out of prison. But legal threats kept Kaminga, former partner, try to buy us out. We said no, and I asked the community for help. We raised enough to keep going, not from corporations, but from neighbors who knew what second chances cost. A note arrived, meet me where it started. Elijah, heading off to a trade apprenticeship, said thank you. You gave me a map, he said. Promise me you'll do the same for someone else. That night, I told Marcus, I want to stay not for the project, but for here. For us. City Council called a hearing for a grant. Marcus spoke, heart in his voice. We're not fixing buildings, we're fixing people, one life at a time. We won. We built more than tables, we built defiance. Some still called it reckless. Some said it was love. Some said I was foolish. Maybe. But if loving enough to give someone another shot is foolish, let them write it in neon. In a world that tries to erase people who don't fit, we stayed visible, we stayed honest, and we didn't back down. Now, I want to know, when the world calls someone too broken, do you see a lost cause? Or do you see someone who just needs a hand and a hammer? Tell me below, where do you stand on second chances? On what it means to build, not just fix, something real. Share your story, because you never know who needs it.